Hey guys, tonight we're taking a very slow, very gentle journey back in time, all the way to ancient Rome. Imagine, if you will, the bustling streets of the eternal city as the sun begins its sleepy descent, casting long, lazy shadows across cobbled pathways. The air, still warm from the day's heat, carries the murmur of 1,000 conversations, the distant clatter of hooves, and a faint, earthy aroma. You've had a long day of whatever it is ancient Romans did all day. Perhaps you were negotiating the price of exotic spices in the forum, or maybe you were meticulously copying scrolls in a scriptorium, or perhaps you were just trying to avoid being run over by a runaway cart. Either way, you're tired. Your muscles ache just a little, your mind feels a bit frazzled, and all you crave is a long, soothing soak. And where do you go for that ultimate relaxation in Rome? Why? The public baths, of course. Now, before you get too comfortable, let's be honest, you probably wouldn't survive a day in ancient Rome without a serious tetanus shot or a very strong stomach for lead pipes. But tonight, we're going to pretend we're not susceptible to ancient diseases or inconvenient lack of plumbing. We're going to focus on the truly delightful, the oddly serene, the surprisingly sleepy side of Roman life. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're feeling up to it, drop your location and local time in the comments. It's always fascinating to see where you're all drifting off from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You trudge along the Appian Way, or perhaps one of Rome's narrower, winding streets, the noise of the city slowly fading behind you. The sounds begin to shift. Instead of street vendors hawking olives and fresh bread, you start to hear a different kind of hum. It's a low, resonant thrum, a mix of distant splashing, hushed voices, and the soft echo of footsteps on polished stone. The air grows warmer, carrying with it a distinct, almost steamy scent, a blend of damp earth, a faint hint of olive oil, and something vaguely floral, perhaps from the exotic perfumes favored by the wealthier patrons. You approach a monumental structure, its grand arches and imposing walls silhouetted against the deepening twilight sky. This isn't just a building. It's a sprawling complex, a city within a city dedicated to the ancient art of relaxation and rejuvenation. The entrance is a grand affair, perhaps a wide, inviting doorway flanked by sturdy columns. You step across the threshold, and immediately the outside world seems to recede. The light inside is softer, diffused by strategically placed windows high up in the walls, and perhaps by oil lamps already being lit by the Bathhouse staff. The sheer scale of the place is impressive, almost overwhelming. You notice the intricate mosaic patterns underfoot, depicting scenes of sea creatures or mythological figures, worn smooth by countless bare feet over centuries. The walls are adorned with frescoes, some faded with time, others still vibrant, showing athletes, philosophers, or serene landscapes. The soundscape here is entirely different, a soft, constant murmur like a gentle tide. There's the distant splash of water, the low rumble of men's voices, the lighter chatter of women from a separate section perhaps, or from different hours, depending on the bathhouse's policy. Historians still argue whether women and men always used the baths at entirely separate times, or if some establishments allowed mixed bathing, though the latter was generally frowned upon by moralists. You feel a subtle shift in the air temperature, a rising humidity that speaks of the warm waters within. It's not an oppressive heat yet, just a pleasant, enveloping warmth that begins to coax the tension from your shoulders. You see other bathers, some just entering like you, others already glistening with sweat, making their way to the next chamber. Everyone seems to move with a purpose, yet there's a certain languidness to their steps, a collective surrender to the evening's ritual. It's a place for all classes, too. You might spot a senator, still wearing a toga, next to a freedman, both equally here for the same simple pleasure. It's one of the few places in Roman society where social distinctions seem to gently blur, at least temporarily. You take a deep, slow breath, letting the unique scent of the Roman bathhouse fill your lungs, and feel the day's anxieties begin to gently dissipate. This, you realize, is exactly what you needed. Your first destination is the apoditerium, the changing room. As you step in, the temperature is still mild, a pleasant bridge between the outside world and the increasing warmth of the inner chambers. The apoditerium is a large, open hall, usually lined with stone benches. Along the walls, you see rows of niches or small cubbies, where bathers deposit their clothes and personal belongings. This is where you, too, will shed the cumbersome layers of your tunic and toga, preparing for the ritual ahead. It's a surprisingly social space. Though the conversations here are often hushed, a gentle prelude to the more boisterous chatter you'll find deeper within the baths. You find an empty niche, perhaps near a group of older men quietly discussing the day's chariot races, their voices low and comforting, like the gentle hum of bees. As you carefully fold your clothes, you might notice a small, worn leather bag placed in one of the cubbies. It contains a strigil, a small curved metal tool used for scraping oil and sweat from the body, and perhaps a tiny amphora of olive oil. These are your essential bath accessories, and almost everyone has them. If you're a bit forgetful, don't worry, there are likely vendors nearby selling these items, or perhaps a bath attendant who can rent them to you. It's a small, practical detail, but it speaks volumes about the everyday nature of this elaborate ritual. One quirky tidbit about the apoditerium is the concept of theft. With so many people shedding their valuable clothing and personal effects, theft was surprisingly common. Some bathhouses even had dedicated guards or slaves, known as capsarii, whose sole job was to watch over people's belongings. Imagine trying to explain to a Roman capsarius that someone stole your earbuds. He'd probably just offer you a new strigil and a shrug. This constant threat of petty theft is something modern historians often highlight when discussing the practicalities of Roman public life. It wasn't all grand philosophy and impressive architecture. Sometimes it was just someone nicking your toga. As you finish undressing, you might feel a slight self-consciousness. Everyone here is in various states of undress, from a simple loincloth to complete nudity, depending on personal comfort and the prevailing customs of that particular bathhouse. But surprisingly quickly, that feeling fades. There's a quiet camaraderie in this shared vulnerability, a sense that everyone is here for the same purpose: relaxation and cleansing. You might see a father helping his young son prepare, or friends bantering softly. The air, though warm, is still relatively dry here, allowing you to acclimatize gently to the humid atmosphere that awaits. You might even see some individuals already coated in oil, preparing for exercise, or perhaps just having decided to apply their oil in the relative cool of the changing room before heading into the heat. Historians still argue whether the application of oil was primarily for cleansing, as a sort of ancient soap, or if it also served as a protective layer for the skin against the intense heat and the effects of repeated scraping. Whatever its primary purpose, it was an integral part of the bath ritual, and something you'll encounter more intimately very soon. For now, you simply stand, perhaps stretch a little, feeling the day's stiffness begin to loosen. You're ready for the next stage of your Roman bath journey, a journey that promises ever-increasing warmth and relaxation. From the relative cool of the apoditerium, you take a slow, deliberate step into the tepidarium. The change is immediate and palpable. A soft, enveloping warmth washes over you, a gentle embrace that feels utterly luxurious after the day's exertion. The air here is noticeably humid, thick with a comforting steam that lightly mists your skin and fills your lungs with a soothing dampness. This isn't the intense, oppressive heat you might imagine. Rather, it's a perfectly calibrated warmth, designed to gradually acclimate your body to the more extreme temperatures yet to come. Think of it as the ultimate warm-up act for your muscles and mind, a slow, gentle simmer before the full boil. The tepidarium is often a large, elegantly decorated chamber, sometimes adorned with intricate mosaics on the floor or frescoes depicting tranquil scenes on the walls. The light, diffused by the humid air, seems softer, creating a dreamlike ambience. You might find yourself wanting to just stand there for a moment, eyes half closed, simply breathing in the warm, moist air. The sounds here are also subtly different from the changing room. The chatter is even softer, hushed, as if everyone instinctively lowers their voice in deference to the serene atmosphere. You might hear the gentle drip of condensation, or the soft swish of bath attendants moving silently through the space. You notice others lounging on stone benches, some with their eyes closed, already halfway to a blissful doze. Others are engaged in quiet conversation, their voices barely above a whisper, discussing philosophy, the latest news, or perhaps simply contemplating the warmth. It's a place for transition, for gentle relaxation, but also for observation. You might see someone beginning to apply oil to their skin, preparing it for the scraping process to come. This initial layer of olive oil wasn't just for lubrication. It was believed to cleanse the skin, trapping dirt and sweat, which would then be removed with the strigil. It's a bit like a very, very old-fashioned oil cleanser, but without the fancy packaging. A quirky detail about Roman bathing habits is that not everyone followed the exact same routine. While the general path through the bath was established, individuals often adapted it to their own preferences. Some might spend longer in the tepidarium, enjoying the gentle warmth, while others might breeze through it, eager for the more intense heat of the caldarium. Historians still argue whether this flexibility was an intentional design feature to cater to individual preferences, or simply a reflection of the casual, self-directed nature of the Roman bathing experience. It's a nice thought, isn't it? That even in ancient times, people had their own routines, their own ways of unwinding. You find a vacant spot on a warm stone bench and recline, feeling the heat seep into your back and legs. The tension that had clung to your shoulders all day begins to unravel slowly, like a tangled thread being straightened. You close your eyes, letting the soft steam settle on your eyelashes. The air smells clean, warm, and subtly earthy. There's a faint, sweet note of olive oil, and perhaps a hint of the wood smoke from the hypocaust system far below, though it's barely perceptible here. You feel your muscles begin to relax, your breathing deepen. This is where the magic truly begins, where the boundaries between the outside world and your inner tranquility start to blur. You're not just warming up, you're gently shedding the day, preparing your body and mind for a deeper state of repose. The soothing sounds of the bathhouse, the distant splashes, the hushed whispers, become a gentle, hypnotic symphony, lulling you further into comfort. Now, with your body perfectly primed by the tepidarium, you venture forth into the caldarium. This is where the real heat resides. As you step into this chamber, the air wraps around you like a thick, warm blanket, heavy with steam and the scent of heated stone. This is often the largest and most impressive room in the bath complex, typically featuring a large, rectangular or circular hot water pool, known as the alveus, usually deep enough to immerse yourself. The air here is truly hot, designed to induce a profuse sweat, opening your pores and cleansing your skin from within. You'll see people either soaking in the alveus, their bodies glistening, or lounging on the benches surrounding the pool, allowing the intense heat to penetrate their muscles. The steam rises in gentle plumes from the hot water, swirling softly in the air, catching the light from the high windows or the flickering oil lamps. The sound of gentle splashing is more pronounced here, a constant, comforting background noise, interspersed with the soft sighs of contentment from the bathers. It's a heat that feels therapeutic, almost medicinal, designed to draw out impurities and relax every single fiber of your being. You find a spot on a warm stone bench and settle in, letting the heat work its magic. Within moments, fine beads of sweat begin to prickle your skin, then coalesce into rivulets, slowly tracing paths down your limbs. It's an oddly satisfying sensation, the feeling of your body truly letting go. You might close your eyes again, listening to the gentle hiss of steam as it escapes from the hot water, or the quiet murmur of voices, softened by the dense air. It's a space where conversation isn't really necessary. The shared experience of the heat fosters a silent understanding. This is also the place where the strigil comes into play. After a good sweat, the Roman bather would apply olive oil to their skin. You might grab your own small flask of oil, perhaps infused with a delicate scent like rose or lavender, and pour a small amount onto your palm, rubbing it gently over your arms, chest, and legs. The oil, combined with the sweat, creates a fine layer on your skin, which is then scraped off using the strigil. This isn't a harsh, abrasive scraping, but a smooth, deliberate motion that removes dirt, sweat, and dead skin cells, leaving your skin feeling remarkably clean and soft. You might see a bath attendant, often a slave, offering to do this for patrons or friends performing the service for each other. Imagine getting scraped clean by your buddy true friendship. This practice of oiling and scraping was the primary method of cleansing in Roman baths, predating soap as we know it. A fascinating, slightly quirky historical fact is that sometimes, particularly in smaller, less grand bathhouses, the hot water for the caldarium might not have been endlessly flowing. Instead, it was often heated in large boilers, testudo, and then manually transferred to the alveus. This meant that if you were too late in the evening, the water might not be quite as hot, or might even be getting a bit used. Historians still argue about the exact frequency of water changes in public baths. Was it a continuous flow or batch-filled? Either way, you're here at just the right time, and the water feels pristine and wonderfully warm. As you sit there, enveloped in the steamy heat, you feel your muscles completely release their tension. The day's stresses, the little worries, the mental clutter-all of it seems to simply melt away, dissolving into the warm, humid air. You feel lighter, cleaner, and profoundly relaxed. The sounds of the bathhouse become a soothing, rhythmic hum, a gentle lullaby for your body and mind. You're ready for the next stage of your cleansing journey, a refreshing contrast to this enveloping warmth. Emerging from the intense heat of the caldarium, you feel a distinct shift in the atmosphere as you approach the frigidarium. This chamber is the polar opposite, a deliberate and invigorating shock to the system. As you step across the threshold, the warmth that clung to your skin immediately dissipates, replaced by a bracing coolness that makes the hairs on your arms stand on end. The air here is crisp, almost chilly, and much drier than the steamy chambers you just left. It's a jolt, certainly, but a welcome one, designed to close your pores, stimulate circulation, and leave you feeling utterly refreshed and revitalized. The frigidarium typically features a large, often deep, cold plunge pool. The water, sourced from cool springs or aqueducts, is remarkably refreshing. The room itself might be less ornate than the caldarium, perhaps with simpler decorations, emphasizing its functional purpose. The soundscape here is different too. Fewer hushed murmurs, more audible splashes, and perhaps the occasional gasp or grunt from someone bravely entering the icy waters. It's a moment of collective bracing, a shared, invigorating challenge. You take a deep breath, steeling yourself. Your body, still radiating warmth from the caldarium, is about to experience a sensation that might initially feel like a shock, but quickly transforms into pure invigoration. You watch as others approach the pool, some easing themselves in with slow, deliberate steps, others plunging in with a quick, decisive dive. The thought of cold water might seem daunting, but the Romans understood the therapeutic benefits of thermal contrast hot to cold, cold to hot for both body and mind. It's like hitting a reset button, but in a very ancient, very splashy way. You choose your entry method. Perhaps you slowly descend the steps, inch by agonizing inch, feeling the cold creep up your legs. Or maybe you take a quick, sharp breath and plunge in, immersing yourself completely in the icy embrace. The initial sensation is undoubtedly a shock, a sudden constriction of your pores, and a rush of adrenaline. But almost immediately, a tingling sensation spreads across your skin, a feeling of awakening. The languor from the heat is instantly banished, replaced by a vibrant alertness. It's the kind of wake-up call that a triple espresso wishes it could be. A quirky detail about the Frigidarium is that while it was essential for the thermal cycle, it wasn't necessarily a place for lingering. Most bathers would take a quick dip, perhaps swim a few strokes, and then exit, allowing the cold water to do its work quickly and efficiently. You wouldn't find people floating lazily in the Frigidarium like they might in a modern swimming pool. Historians still argue about the exact duration recommended for the cold plunge. Was it purely for a quick shock, or was there a recommended time for maximum health benefits? Regardless, the feeling of emerging from the cold, your skin tingling and your mind clear, is truly remarkable. As you step out of the cold water, perhaps toweling yourself off with a coarse linen cloth, you notice a profound sense of well-being. Your skin feels tight and refreshed, your circulation stimulated, and your mind is remarkably clear. The lingering heat from the previous chambers now feels like a gentle warmth radiating from within, a pleasant afterglow. You feel utterly invigorated, ready for the next stage of your Roman bath experience, which often involved more social or active pursuits before settling into full relaxation mode. The cold plunge, though brief, has sharpened your senses and prepared you for whatever comes next. You feel alive, and yet, paradoxically, wonderfully primed for eventual sleep. Having experienced the refreshing jolt of the Frigidarium, you now find yourself in a more expansive, often open-air part of the bath complex, the palestra. This isn't another water feature, but rather a large, open courtyard or exercise ground, often surrounded by colonnades. Think of it as the Roman equivalent of a community gym and recreation center rolled into one, but with considerably less lycra. Here, the atmosphere shifts again. The hushed tones of the bath chambers give way to a more energetic, the rhythmic thud of wrestling bodies, the light patter of feet on sand, the occasional shouts of encouragement or friendly challenge. You might see various forms of exercise taking place. Young men, and sometimes older ones too, are engaged in wrestling, their bodies slick with oil and sweat, grappling in a controlled but earnest fashion. Others might be throwing discuses, the heavy bronze plates arcing through the air with a satisfying whoosh. Some are practicing javelin throws, their movements graceful and powerful. You might even spot a group playing harpastum, a rough-and-tumble ball game that was a distant ancestor of modern rugby or soccer, albeit much less organized and probably far more prone to impromptu fisticuffs. It's a lively scene, full of the robust energy of people pushing their physical limits, even if only for leisure. Despite the activity, there's still a relaxed air. No one seems to be grimacing through sets of bicep curls or checking their smartwatch for heart rate zones. The exercises are more about agility, strength, and camaraderie than about sculpted physiques. You might even feel a gentle breeze here, a welcome relief after the hot chambers, especially if you've just come from the Frigidarium. The sun, if it's still high enough, might cast warm, golden light across the sandy ground, highlighting the flexing muscles of the athletes. A mainstream historical fact about the palestra is its integral role in Roman daily life. For many Romans, particularly men, physical exercise was as important as bathing for maintaining health and civic duty. It wasn't just about getting strong. It was about preparing the body for military service, showcasing virility, and engaging in healthy competition. This emphasis on physical culture was deeply ingrained, drawing on Greek traditions of athletic prowess and the ideal of a sound mind in a sound body. A quirky tidbit you might notice is the presence of spectators. Not everyone in the palestra is actively exercising. Some are simply observing, perhaps offering advice, or engaging in light banter. You might even see philosophers or poets standing under the colonnades, using the energetic backdrop as inspiration for their thoughts, or simply enjoying the lively scene. It's a prime spot for people watching, a true microcosm of Roman society at play. Historians still argue about the precise level of formality in these exercises. Were they truly spontaneous and informal, or were there specific coaches and structured training sessions? It probably varied wildly from bathhouse to bathhouse, much like modern gyms. You lean against a cool stone column, your body still tingling from the cold plunge, and watch the activities unfold. The rhythmic sounds of exertion, the soft thud of bodies, the occasional cheer, it all blends into a background hum that is surprisingly soothing. It's a different kind of relaxation than the quiet heat of the caldarium, a more active, almost contemplative calm. You observe the effortless grace of a discus thrower, the raw strength of the wrestlers, and feel a sense of appreciation for the simple, physical pleasures these Romans enjoyed. It's a moment to simply exist in the vibrant, historical present, absorbing the sounds and sights, feeling your own body subtly energized by the surrounding activity, yet still wonderfully relaxed. The evening air begins to soften, and the light takes on a deeper, richer hue, signaling that the day is indeed winding down. After the invigorating, albeit optional, exertions of the palestra, your body feels ready for another kind of tactile experience. You gravitate towards the unctorium, also known as the anointing room. This chamber is typically quieter, often less grand than the main bathing halls, but no less essential to the full Roman bath ritual. The air here is still warm, but less humid, carrying the subtle, pleasant aroma of various oils, olive, almond, perhaps even exotic imported scents like cinnamon or frankincense. It's a gentle, almost aromatic prelude to deeper relaxation. In the unctorium, the focus is on the application of oils, and for those who indulged, a gentle massage. You'll see shelves or small tables laden with various unguents and perfumes in beautifully crafted glass or alabaster bottles. Bath attendants, often skilled slaves, are present, ready to assist patrons with their oiling and scraping, or to provide a soothing rubdown. It's a personalized service, a moment of individual attention after the communal experiences of the hot and cold plunges. You might approach an attendant, or perhaps choose to apply your own oil. You select a small vial of fragrant olive oil, perhaps infused with a calming herb, and pour a small amount into your palm. The oil is smooth, almost silken, as you spread it over your skin, feeling it absorb gently, leaving a soft sheen. This isn't just about moisturizing. The Romans believed in the therapeutic properties of various oils, using them to cleanse, soothe, and protect the skin. It's a ritual that has been passed down through generations, a testament to the enduring human need for physical comfort and care. A quirky detail about Roman oils is the sheer variety. While olive oil was the staple, wealthier Romans would often import expensive, exotic oils and unguent from across the empire, from Arabia to India. Some were infused with rare flowers, others with spices, each promising unique benefits or simply a luxurious scent. Imagine the ancient equivalent of wandering through a high-end spa, trying to pick out your perfect essential oil blend. Except here, you're doing it in a room full of other people getting oiled down. It's wonderfully practical and a little bit absurd all at once. After applying your oil, you might choose to receive a light massage. The attendant's hands are skilled, their touch firm yet gentle, working out any remaining knots of tension in your shoulders or back. It's not a deep tissue massage designed to inflict pain, but rather a soothing manipulation designed to further relax your muscles and prepare your body for ultimate rest. The rhythmic kneading, combined with the subtle scent of the oils and the quiet murmurs of the room, creates a truly hypnotic experience. Historians still argue about the precise techniques and training of Roman masseurs. Were they truly medical practitioners or simply skilled attendants providing a comforting service? Regardless, their touch was undoubtedly a welcome part of the bath experience. As the attendant finishes, you feel a profound sense of calm washing over you. Your skin feels supple and soft, and your muscles are completely unburdened. The heat of the caldarium, followed by the shock of the frigidarium, and now this gentle anointing and massage has created a symphony of sensations that leaves you feeling utterly at peace. You're not just clean, you're deeply relaxed, your body humming with a low, contented energy. The subtle sounds of the unctorium's soft squelch of oil, the quiet breathing of others, the gentle movements of the attendants become a soft, calming presence, guiding you deeper into a state of blissful tranquility. The evening light outside may be fading, but inside, a quiet warmth continues to glow. With your body feeling supple and serene, you might now be feeling a gentle pang of hunger or thirst. This brings us to another often overlooked, yet entirely delightful aspect of the Roman bath experience: the availability of snacks and socializing. The bath complexes weren't just about cleansing. They were social hubs, places where Romans spent hours conducting business, catching up with friends, or simply relaxing. And what's relaxation without a little sustenance? You won't find a sprawling food court with dozens of fast food options here, nor will you see vendors hawking overly processed, sugary delights. Instead, the refreshments are simple, wholesome, and perfectly suited to the atmosphere. You might wander into a quiet corner, perhaps a small annex or a courtyard, where vendors have set up humble stalls. The aromas are subtle: the sweet scent of fresh fruit, the earthy smell of olives, and the warm, yeasty smell of freshly baked bread. You approach one of these informal stands. On offer might be small, crusty loaves of bread, perhaps still warm from a nearby oven. There are bowls overflowing with plump green and black olives, glistening with oil. You might also spot dried figs and dates, naturally sweet and wonderfully chewy, offering a burst of energy. And for thirst, simple water drawn from the aqueducts, cool and refreshing. Sometimes there might be a watered-down wine, light and easy to drink, or perhaps a sweet fruit juice. It's the ancient equivalent of a healthy snack bar, but far more rustic and infinitely more charming. A quirky detail about Roman bathhouse snacks is that while the food was generally simple, there was often a focus on fresh, seasonal produce. This meant that what you ate at the baths would vary depending on the time of year. Imagine looking forward to those ripe grapes in late summer or crisp apples in autumn. It's a gentle reminder of the slower pace of life, dictated by the rhythm of nature, not by global supply chains. One might even argue that the Romans had a superior understanding of mindful eating, simply because they had fewer processed distractions. You select a handful of dates and a small loaf of bread, perhaps breaking off a piece and dipping it into a tiny bowl of olive oil offered by the vendor. The simplicity of the flavors is surprisingly satisfying. As you munch, you observe the people around you. Some are still damp from the baths, draped in light cloaks, engaged in animated conversation. Others are playing a quiet game of dice, their laughter soft and warm. It's a wonderful blend of quiet contentment and gentle social interaction. Historians still argue whether these food stalls were officially sanctioned by the bathhouse owners, or if they were enterprising individuals simply setting up shop where the crowds gathered. Either way, they were clearly a welcome amenity. The sounds in this area are primarily those of soft chewing, the clink of earthenware cups, and the low hum of relaxed conversation. It's a gentle auditory backdrop that perfectly complements the quiet satisfaction of good, simple food. You find a comfortable spot on a bench, perhaps near a small fountain where the gentle gurgle of water adds to the peaceful ambience. As you slowly savor your snack, you feel your energy levels gently replenish, not with a sudden jolt, but with a smooth, sustained release. It's the perfect interlude, preparing you for whatever intellectual or final relaxation pursuits await you in the deeper recesses of the bath complex. The lingering warmth from your earlier immersion, combined with this simple sustenance, make for a truly drowsy, contented feeling. As your hunger is sated and you've enjoyed some gentle conversation, you might feel drawn to a quieter, more intellectually stimulating part of the bath complex. Many large Roman baths, particularly the imperial ones, weren't just about physical cleansing and exercise. They were also centers of culture and learning. This brings you to the areas dedicated to libraries and lectures. Imagine a place where the sounds of splashing water and gentle murmurs give way to the rustle of papyrus and the soft drone of intellectual discourse. You step into a hushed hall where the air is still and cool, a stark contrast to the humid warmth of the bathing areas. The light here is often dimmer, designed to be easy on the eyes for reading. Along the walls, you see wooden cupboards or shelves filled with neatly rolled papyrus scrolls, the ancient equivalent of books. These weren't public lending libraries in the modern sense, but rather collections for reference, study, and quiet contemplation. You might even spot a scribe or two diligently copying texts, their quills scratching softly against the papyrus, a sound that is surprisingly soothing in its rhythmic precision. You might pull a stool up to a reading desk, perhaps beside a window overlooking a tranquil inner garden, and select a scroll. It could be a philosophical treatise by Seneca, a historical account by Livy, or even a collection of poetry by Virgil. The act of unrolling the scroll, the feel of the papyrus beneath your fingers, is a tactile connection to a world long past. The concentration required to read these ancient texts, often written without spaces between words, is a gentle mental exercise, subtly diverting your mind from any lingering worries. Beyond the library section, you might find an area set aside for lectures or recitations. This could be a semicircular exedra or a small auditorium with tiered seating. Here, an orator or philosopher might be delivering a public reading of their latest work, or perhaps engaging in a lively debate. The voices are generally calm and measured, designed to inform and engage rather than to excite. You might settle into a seat, letting the rhythm of their words wash over you. Even if you don't fully grasp the intricacies of the Roman legal system or the nuances of Stoic philosophy, the mere sound of a cultivated voice, debating ideas in a language that once dominated the known world, is wonderfully hypnotic. A mainstream historical fact is that these libraries and lecture halls were crucial for the dissemination of knowledge and culture throughout the Roman Empire. They served as intellectual hubs, fostering education and intellectual exchange for those who could access them, making the baths far more than just places for hygiene. A quirky tidbit, however, is that some Romans were less interested in serious study and more interested in showing off. You might find some individuals simply pretending to read a difficult philosophical text, hoping to impress others with their intellectual prowess, rather than actually absorbing the content. It's the ancient equivalent of carrying around a very thick, impressive-looking book you never actually open. Historians still argue about the true literacy rates among the Roman populace and how many people truly engaged with these intellectual offerings beyond a superficial level. As you sit in this quiet corner, surrounded by the echoes of ancient thought and the soft sounds of scholarly pursuit, you feel a deep sense of peacefulness settle over you. The mind, too, can be cleansed and relaxed. And here, in the Roman baths' intellectual sanctuary, it finds its tranquil repose. The soft murmur of a distant orator, the gentle turning of a scroll, the quiet breathing of other readers all contribute to an atmosphere of profound calm, easing your brain into a gentle hum of contentment, preparing it for a restful night. After engaging your mind, you might decide it's time to attend to the finer points of Roman personal care. This leads you to the sections dedicated to hair and beauty. These weren't necessarily large, bustling salons as we know them, but rather specific areas within the bath complex, or even specialized attendants who moved through the different rooms. The air here might carry the faint scent of perfumes, oils, and perhaps a hint of singed hair, a testament to some of the more daring Roman grooming practices. You might see barbers, tonsures, at work, their razors glinting as they expertly shave a patron's face or trim their beard. For Roman men, a clean-shaven face was often the mark of a civilized man, though beards came in and out of fashion, much like today. The barbers might also offer a quick haircut, perhaps a simple trim to keep things neat. The sounds here are subtle. The soft scrape of a razor, the snip of shears, the gentle swish of a towel. It's a testament to the fact that even in ancient times, people cared about looking presentable. For women, or for men who enjoyed more elaborate grooming, there might be cosmetic beauticians who specialized in applying cosmetics, styling hair, or even removing unwanted body hair. Imagine sitting back while a Roman cosmeta carefully applies a simple kohl eyeliner or arranges your hair into an intricate braided style. They might even use peculiar ancient remedies for skin blemishes or to soften the skin. It's a fascinating glimpse into the Roman ideal of beauty, which often favored a natural, healthy glow enhanced by subtle touches. A quirky detail about Roman grooming was the practice of hair removal. While some modern methods are painful, the Romans had their own unique approaches, including plucking with tweezers, shaving, and even using depilatory creams made from rather dubious ingredients like quicklime and arsenic, definitely not recommended for home use. So, while you might envy their smooth skin, you probably wouldn't want to try their techniques at home. It certainly makes you appreciate modern waxing. Historians still argue about the extent to which these more extreme beauty practices were widespread, or if they were largely confined to the wealthier, more fashion-conscious elite. You settle into a chair, feeling the gentle hands of an attendant as they perhaps smooth a little oil through your hair or offer a soothing scalp massage. The meticulous attention to detail, the quiet focus of the barber or beautician, contributes to the overall sense of calm. There's no rush here. Personal grooming is seen as another aspect of self-care, a slow, deliberate act. The gentle movements, the soft rustle of cloths, and the faint, pleasant scents all work together to create a profoundly relaxing experience. It's a moment of indulgent self-care, a final polish after the vigorous cleansing of the baths. As your hair is gently combed or your skin refreshed, you feel a deep sense of contentment, a quiet glow radiating from within. The soft, ambient sounds of the bathhouse become a comforting backdrop, inviting a deeper state of relaxation. While you're enjoying the finer points of Roman pampering, it's worth pausing to consider the unseen marvels that made this entire experience possible. You might find yourself drifting towards a part of the complex where the air is a little warmer, perhaps near the ground, and notice a faint, almost subterranean hum. This leads us to the ingenious system of heating systems, hypocaust secrets. This is the ancient Roman equivalent of central heating, but far more impressive given the technology of the time. Beneath the very floors you've been walking on, and within the walls that surround you, lies a complex network of chambers and channels. This is the hypocaust system. Imagine a vast, hollow space beneath the floor, supported by countless small brick pillars, known as pili. These pillars create an elevated floor, allowing hot air to circulate freely beneath it. Off to one side of the baths, away from the main public areas, you'd find large furnaces or prefurnia. Here, slaves would constantly feed wood into roaring fires, generating immense heat. The hot air and smoke from these furnaces weren't simply vented away. Instead, they were cleverly channeled through the spaces created by the pili, spreading horizontally beneath the floors of the caldarium, tepidarium, and even the unctorium. But it didn't stop there. The heat would then rise vertically through hollow tiles embedded in the walls, known as tubuli, effectively turning the walls themselves into radiators. This meant that the entire structure floors, walls, and even the air was gently and consistently heated. It was an incredibly efficient and sophisticated system, far beyond what many cultures had at the time. A mainstream historical fact is that the invention and widespread adoption of the hypocaust system in Roman baths revolutionized bathing and domestic comfort. It allowed for the creation of truly warm, humid environments essential for the Roman bath routine, and its principles influenced heating systems for centuries. It was a massive undertaking in engineering, requiring vast amounts of fuel and constant labor to maintain. A quirky tidbit is to consider the poor souls whose job it was to keep those fires burning. These were often slaves, toiling in cramped, smoky conditions, constantly shoveling wood into the furnaces. While you're luxuriating in the perfectly temperate waters above, imagine the rhythmic clang of a shovel and the hiss of flames just meters below your feet. It's a reminder that even the most serene, ancient experiences often rested on the back of considerable human effort. Historians still argue about the average fuel consumption of a large imperial bath. Estimates range widely, but all agree it was an enormous logistical challenge to keep these furnaces constantly supplied with wood. As you contemplate this hidden network of heat, You feel a renewed sense of appreciation for the engineering prowess of the Romans. The subtle warmth emanating from the floor beneath your bare feet, the gentle radiating heat from the walls, it all makes perfect sense now. It's a quiet testament to their ingenuity, a reminder that even the most everyday comforts can be the result of incredible innovation. The deep, continuous hum of the fires below, a constant, unseen force, becomes part of the bath's ambient soundscape, a low, reassuring thrum that speaks of sustained warmth and diligent effort, further lulling you into a state of profound relaxation. While the wonders of the hypo-cost system are undoubtedly impressive, it's crucial to remember that these grand bathhouses didn't operate themselves. They relied on a vast, often unseen workforce. This brings us to the staff and slaves, the workers who kept the Roman bath machine running smoothly from dawn until dusk, and sometimes even through the night. As you drift through the complex, you might catch glimpses of them, moving with quiet efficiency, their presence a constant, understated hum in the background. You might see the balneators, the bathhouse managers, striding purposefully through the halls, overseeing operations. They were the ones responsible for everything from collecting entrance fees, a small coin, often just an as, making the baths accessible to almost everyone, to ensuring the water was hot and the oils were stocked. They were the orchestrators of this elaborate daily ritual, ensuring that patrons had a seamless and relaxing experience. More numerous, and often less visible, were the slaves. They performed the myriad tasks that kept the baths functioning. You might see a young slave sweeping the mosaic floors, his broom making a soft, rhythmic swish. Others would be diligently fetching fresh water, carrying buckets, or replenishing wood for the furnaces. Remember those capsarii we mentioned earlier, guarding your belongings? They were slaves too, their vigilance a necessary deterrent against petty theft. Then there were the unctorii and ellipti, the slaves specifically trained in oiling and massaging, their hands providing the soothing touch that melted away fatigue. Even the barbers were often slaves or freedmen, their skill honed through years of practice. A mainstream historical fact is that the vast public infrastructure projects of Rome, including the baths, relied heavily on slave labor. Slavery was an integral part of Roman society, powering everything from agriculture to domestic service to public works. The sheer number of people required to maintain a large bath complex was immense, a testament to the organizational power of Roman society, albeit one built on human servitude. A quirky tidbit about the bathhouse staff is that their lives were often harsh, but some could gain valuable skills that might eventually lead to their freedom, or at least a slightly better existence as freedmen. A skilled masseur or a particularly diligent balneator might earn enough to purchase their freedom, or be granted it by a benevolent master. Imagine the quiet hopes and dreams playing out beneath the surface of this serene public space. Historians still argue about the exact conditions and daily routines of bathhouse slaves. Was their work generally lighter than, say, agricultural slaves, or was the constant heat and strenuous activity equally taxing? Their stories, largely unrecorded, remain a fascinating area of historical speculation. As you consider the unseen hands that make your relaxation possible, you feel a gentle ripple of empathy. Their quiet movements, the soft sounds of their labor, a distant clatter of wood, the gentle swish of a cleaning cloth, the low murmur of instructions all blend into the ambient soundscape of the bathhouse. It's a constant, underlying rhythm that speaks of dedication and effort, allowing you, the bather, to sink deeper into comfort. Their tireless work ensures your tranquil evening. The soft glow of the oil lamps now seems a little dimmer, signaling the approach of a truly quiet night, and your thoughts begin to drift towards your own imminent departure. As the evening deepens and the bathhouse atmosphere transitions from bustling activity to a more subdued tranquility, you begin to feel the irresistible pull of true relaxation. The sounds grow softer, the light dims further, and your body, cleansed and eased, feels wonderfully heavy. This signals the time for evening departure, drowsy exit. The Grand Roman Bath, once a vibrant hub of activity, is now preparing for its own slumber. You slowly rouse yourself from your contented state, perhaps from a final, languid soak in a slightly cooler pool, or from a quiet moment of introspection on a warm bench. The air is still pleasant, infused with the lingering sense of warmed stone and a faint, sweet aroma of olive oil and damp earth. Gone are the boisterous shouts from the palestra, replaced by the gentle echo of footsteps on polished floors. The chatter of voices has diminished to a soft, almost whispered murmur as other bathers, equally relaxed, begin their own slow journey homeward. You make your way back to the apoditerium, the changing room where you first arrived. The niches where you left your clothes are now more sparsely populated. You retrieve your garments, feeling the familiar texture of your tunic against your now softened skin. Dressing feels like a more substantial task than undressing, each movement deliberate, your limbs feeling wonderfully heavy and pliant. It's a pleasant kind of fatigue, the kind that promises deep, restorative sleep. A mainstream historical fact is that the Romans typically ended their workday and began their leisure time with a visit to the baths. For many, it was the social and physical culmination of their day, preparing them for the evening meal and a peaceful night. This routine was deeply embedded in their culture, a testament to the importance they placed on public well-being and communal activity. As you tie the sash of your tunic, you might notice the attendants moving more slowly, preparing the bath for closure. They might be raking the sand in the palestra, tidying the benches, or ensuring the furnaces for the hypocaust system are banked for the night. Their movements are quiet, almost reverent, as if they too are winding down with the grand complex itself. It's a charming detail, this shared rhythm of winding down. A quirky tidbit: some very committed bathers might have even stayed too late, occasionally falling asleep in a warm room and being gently roused by the closing staff. Imagine waking up in a vast, empty Roman bathhouse, bathed in moonlight, a wonderfully eerie and peaceful thought. Historians still argue about the exact closing times of public baths. Did they vary significantly by region or size, or was there a general unspoken curfew? Regardless, the signal to leave was clear. The bathhouse was transitioning from vibrant activity to serene quiet. You step out of the grand entrance, leaving the warmth and humidity behind. The night air, now cool and crisp, feels refreshing against your still warm skin. The sounds of the city have largely faded, replaced by the soft chirping of crickets and the distant hoot of an owl. The stars twinkle brightly in the Roman sky, a silent, vast expanse overhead. You feel a profound sense of peace, a deep, bone-weary satisfaction that settles into your very core. Every muscle in your body feels utterly relaxed, every thought in your mind quieted. The Roman bath has done its work. You are ready to drift. As you walk away from the imposing structure of the Roman bathhouse, its grand arches now receding into the soft twilight, the memories of your experience begin to blend and soften, transforming into echoes and dreams, lasting impressions. The physical sensations, the intense heat, the bracing cold, the slippery feel of oiling her, but they are now tinged with a peaceful haziness. Your senses, sharpened by the contrast of the bath, are now exquisitely tuned to the subtle symphony of the Roman night. You might notice the faint, sweet scent of night-blooming jasmine wafting from a nearby garden, or the earthy aroma of damp stone. The distant murmur of the city, which once felt overwhelming, now feels like a comforting lullaby, a constant, low thrum against the vast silence of the starlit sky. Your bare feet, perhaps still slightly damp and cool, feel every nuance of the ancient cobblestones beneath them, a subtle texture that connects you directly to the past. The image of the bustling palestra, filled with the energy of athletes, softens into a quiet tableau in your mind's eye, a memory of robust health and simple joy. The hushed whispers of the library, the scratch of a scribe's quill, become a gentle intellectual hum, a reminder of the quiet pursuit of knowledge that took place within those ancient walls. Even the thought of the unseen slaves toiling below, a stark contrast to your relaxation, fades into a quiet acknowledgement, a respectful nod to the hidden foundations of Roman comfort. A mainstream historical fact that resonates now is the enduring legacy of the Roman baths. They weren't just buildings. They were sophisticated social institutions that fostered hygiene, community, and leisure in a way that wouldn't be seen again for centuries. Their influence can still be seen in spa culture and public health initiatives even today, centuries after their stones crumbled. A quirky tidbit that might drift into your sleepy thoughts is the sheer variety of personal items left behind in the baths. Imagine the archaeologists, centuries later, unearthing forgotten strigils, small oil flasks, or even a child's forgotten toy. Each artifact, a silent story, a tiny glimpse into the everyday lives of the people who shared this space with you. Historians still argue about the precise significance of bath graffiti. Was it merely idle doodling, or did it sometimes convey hidden messages or personal laments? Perhaps the quiet voices of those who once used the baths whisper through the ages, carried on the gentle breeze. As you near your lodging, the fatigue, a luxurious, warm heaviness, begins to assert itself fully. Your thoughts become less structured, more like gentle currents in a calm river. The vivid sensations of the bathhouse, the warmth on your skin, the scent in the air, the rhythmic sounds begin to blur into one harmonious, peaceful whole. You feel utterly, completely relaxed, your body and mind in perfect accord, ready for the deepest, most restorative sleep. The gentle imagery of the Roman night, the soft glow of distant oil lamps, and the quiet contentment within you become a perfect, soothing backdrop for the dreams that await. You've reached your destination, or perhaps you're simply standing still in the quiet of the Roman night, allowing the last vestiges of the day to dissipate. Your muscles feel like warm liquid, your mind a calm, unruffled pool. This is the final stage of your Roman bath journey, a gentle descent into bedtime thoughts, a Roman lullaby. The sounds of the bathhouse have faded into a distant echo, replaced by the profound silence of a world winding down. You might find yourself contemplating the Romans, not as figures from dusty textbooks, but as real people who sought comfort and peace, just like you. The rhythmic slosh of water, the low hum of the hypocaust, the soft voices of companions, these are the gentle vibrations that continue to resonate within your memory. It's a quiet appreciation for a civilization that mastered the art of public well-being, creating spaces where body and soul could find solace. As your eyelids grow heavy, you might imagine the moon casting long, silvery shadows over the silent baths, the mosaics gleaming faintly in the moonlight. The grand columns stand sentinel, having witnessed countless evenings of relaxation, whispers, and dreams. There's a peaceful quietude in the thought of these ancient stones, enduring through time, carrying the echoes of so many lives. The gentle warmth that still radiates from your core, a pleasant afterglow from the caldarium, is a comforting blanket. The crisp coolness of the night air, a lingering memory of the frigidarium, adds a delightful contrast, a subtle dance of temperatures on your skin. You feel perfectly balanced, perfectly content. Historians still argue about the precise spiritual or philosophical impact of the Roman baths. Were they truly sacred spaces, or simply incredibly well-designed communal facilities? For you, tonight, there's simply a gateway to profound rest. A quirky thought to drift off to. Imagine the first Roman bath, perhaps just a simple spring, evolving over centuries into these monumental complexes, all because someone realized that a good soak could solve a lot of problems. It's a testament to the enduring power of a warm bath. The soft whisper of the breeze through the ancient trees, the distant, muffled sound of a dog barking, the deep, slow rhythm of your own breathing, these are the only sounds now. Each one a gentle note in the Roman lullaby, drawing you deeper and deeper into a state of blissful quietude. Your mind is no longer racing, no longer burdened by the day's trivialities. It's a vast, calm ocean reflecting the starlit sky. The thought of Roman elegance, Roman comfort, and Roman peace becomes a soft, comforting presence, guiding you gently towards the edge of sleep. You are clean, you are rested, and you are utterly at peace. The world outside is fading, and the world of dreams awaits.